Yo, 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 what's good, people? It's your boy Jason Gooner, and we're back in the studio, people, for another episode of Reasoning Time. It's episode 15. We have a lot to get through today, so we're gonna get the show going as soon as everybody starts to turn up, people. So we have a full show today, people. We're gonna get through the latest on the Unity Cup. Who is going to play. We still need to figure that out. We had some articles come out, so we're going to look at those. JPL Quarterfinals start tonight for the first legs of those. So we have in the first game Montego Bay taking on Tivoli Gardens, and then in the second game we have Portmore taking on Cavalier. I believe this will be played at Sabina Park today, so that should be tonight, people. So yes, we're going to talk about those games a little bit as well in this program. Also, the big summer window coming up, World Cup qualifiers, Gold Cup as well. We know the Gold Cup provisional squad will be coming out pretty soon, I think in about a week or so. So we're going to talk about some players, do a form check, and see where all the players are. Also checking again with when these competitions are ending for certain players, because I think that will give us an idea of who we could potentially use in this Unity Cup. Because I do think that we want to put out a somewhat strong team. I think that would be the goal, as strong as we can without compromising the players' fitness. So we're going to see which players really would be available to play in that. And we heard some news from out of Jamaica as well, based on what players will be used. So we have some things to go through. And of course, it's not in the title, but I did want to close off the whole situation with Mount Pleasant. We did have a ruling from the JFF Competition Committee, so we're just going to talk about that really quickly to start the show. Then we'll move on into the rest of the show. So we'll basically start out with the conclusion of what we spoke about last week. That was the allegations made against Mount Pleasant, and we're going to see how JFF Competition Committee did rule, as they did drop a ruling a couple of days ago now. So we're going to talk about that, and there's some news as well out of the JFF. A lot of rumors going around, hasn't been confirmed by the president, but a lot of rumors going around that Dennis Strong will be stepping down pretty soon. I think his contract is due to be up soon, and I don't think he's planning on renewing and staying. So that is something as well to look to in the future to see what happens with that situation. Look, I was very skeptical, I will admit, when Dennis Strong came on. I know that he has a reputation for righting the ship as far as companies go. But I just, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but I have my reasons for why I would have reservations about him and his style of leading and leadership in general. But at the end of the day, he has done a good job. I think that when you look at the financials of the Reggae Boys and the JFF in general and the Reggae Girls, it has improved, right? We have been taken off restriction from FIFA. We have been able to operate at a surplus the last couple of years. Also, tax compliance, all these things that he would have spoken about are good things. So I want to not act as if he hasn't done anything good for the program. Where some people are here getting up in arms saying, boy, if we lose him now, what's going to happen? I don't think that he's the only person that resides in Jamaica that could do the job he's doing. That's the first thing. But we will have to be smart about who we get, because I do think that when you look at the organization of the JFF, that GenSec position is really a vital cog in the whole setup. So they will have to do their due diligence and make sure they get somebody competent and qualified to take on this task. My goal would be someone that's a little more familiar with sports administration itself, and still have the same financial acumen that Dennis Strong would have brought to the table. I think that would be ideal. So let's see what happens. Of course, nothing set in stone yet, but it's looking like they will be seeking a new GenSec in the near future. Right? Bless up Joseph Brown, Wagwan. Yeah, man, as soon as you tune in, man, drop your comment. Bless up the chat, bless up the channel. Make sure you're liking, sharing, and subscribing. That is a key as well. So first things first, people, I'm going to get on the screen the response, or the verdict, I guess I'll say, of the verdict from the JFF Competition Committee. And this is it right here, people. So let me get this a little bit more zoomed for you. All right, so we should be able to see that. So you see the letterhead, Jamaica Football Federation Limited, and this is their press release from the Competitions Committee making the decision. So Kingston, Jamaica, May 7, 2025. So this was yesterday. The Jamaica Football Federation Committee, Competitions and Regulations Committee has responded to Cavalier SC's appeal in relation to alleged breaches of the 2024-25 JPL regulations by Mount Pleasant FA regarding the use of ineligible players. Article 6.1 of the regulations that was quoted, that is the FIFA regulations on the status and transfer of players, states that as an exception to the rule, a player can be transferred outside the established registration period or transfer windows if the player contract has expired close to the end of the transfer window and the player contract was terminated close to the end of the transfer window. So I'm assuming they would have put that in there because in their findings, they would have found that the two players in question did meet the stipulation here that their contract expired close to the window and also the contract was terminated close to the window, right? So the JFF Competition Committee have in its possession all the termination letters from the players' former clubs and the international transfer certificates, ITCs, which indicates that the players were duly transferred to the Mount Pleasant FA. What is clear is that the breach was initiated by the players' former club and not Mount Pleasant FA. In relation to the second alleged breach of Mount Pleasant FA having 7 foreign players being placed on the match card / team sheet in match number 205 of the JPL, Mount Pleasant FA versus Racing United FC, on 10 April 2025, the committee acknowledged that the regulations stipulate that a maximum of 6 players may be on the field of play at any given time. And I remember when we were talking about this rule, we were wondering, did they all play? The 7 that were on there. We asked that question, you know. So guess it has come out now. So we'll look at it. Article 17.3. I wish them would have shown us the committee members in this letter. Them give us the board of directors though. All right, so Article 17.3 of the 2024-25 JPL regulations say that any club which fields an ineligible player participated in the game shall lose the game. From the match card received, the committee noted that only 5 players participated in the game. The article further states that where a player name appears on the team sheet / match card as a list of players available to participate, the club will be fined $25,000. In keeping with the regulations, Mount Pleasant FA has been fined $25,000 to be paid on or before 23rd May 2025, and that's the end of it right there. So that is their findings, people, on the ruling of those 6 matches in question, 5 of which they would have won. The players were deemed to have been duly registered properly to play in the JPL. All the ITCs, the termination letters from the former club would have been in keeping with regulations and rules, and so there was no breach as far as using those players at the time when they used them in those matches. So they were found not guilty of the charge of playing ineligible players, and the only thing they were found to have breached is having more than 6 players registered on a match card or team sheet. Not even registered, but placed on the match card or team sheet. So that is what happened there. And a slap on the wrist, basically $25,000, and that is not US dollars, people, that is Jamaican. So Mount Pleasant definitely will have no issues paying that fine. And yeah, I think questions out of this, the players themselves, they have represented another club within this transfer window or this time, this January to summertime. So moving forward, are the players eligible to play in the playoffs? You know, there's no ruling on that from the JFF Competitions Committee side. And the way how I rule it, and the way how I read this ruling would mean to me that on the JPL side of things, these players would have been duly registered and are available to play. Now, whether Mount Pleasant take the chance to play them, knowing that the situation has still been gone to the scrutiny of CONCACAF at this point, because they would have played games in February in the CONCACAF Champions Cup against Cruz Azul, and then in that same transfer window played for Mount Pleasant in the JPL some games in the regular season. So I think what would probably be the smartest for Mount Pleasant, to be honest, and this is just my opinion, just don't even bother playing those two players in question in the playoffs. You know, you have done a really good job of building a squad over there at Mount Pleasant. So utilize the squad. Don't take any chances to be down the road penalized for doing something special in these playoffs. You know, you have the youngsters from Haiti you can play. You have Devontae Campbell, Kimoni Bailey, Daniel Green can play wide. You have players. You guys have players. If you don't get to use Johnson Judy and Angelo Exilus in these playoffs, then I don't think that it would make or break your chances to win the league. So my advice to you guys, if you want to take it from a little YouTuber, just let these players sit this one out until CONCACAF has ruled on the situation with the players playing in February. That would be my advice to them. So yeah, what you guys think about these people? I think, look, they really didn't breach any rule on the side of the JFF Competitions Committee, because they were able to produce all the ITCs, all the contract termination letters from the former club, which would deem them eligible to play in their league in the JPL. But again, since the ruling hasn't come down yet about them playing in the CONCACAF Champions Cup in February, I think it would be smart for them to just leave these guys out of the situation moving forward, you know. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Are you okay with the ruling? Do you think it was fair? Look, the competitions committee can only work with the documents that would have made them eligible to play in their league. You know, the whole thing, we found out that the two systems for registering players are different when it comes on to the JPL. The JPL uses FIFA Connect, right? And the CONCACAF Champions Cup uses Comet, which is a different program. So that's why they were able to register in the CONCACAF Champions Cup for games in February. And when you put them in to register them, it wouldn't have gotten flagged, because I don't believe that the Comet and the Connect actually communicate with each other. So that is really where the communication lines would have broken down. But at the end of the day, there's still more to be found out, because I can't believe for a day that Real Hope would have sold the players to Mount Pleasant in January and then turn around and use those players in February. So there must have been some communication, some kind of, I don't know, maybe they were knowing that, hey, on their end, on our end in the JPL, they'll be good to go because they are registered to play here. So what they want to do with them that is on UNO, I don't know. But I just find it hard to believe that the clubs wouldn't have been in any communication at all, you know, at all. And as far as Real Hope is concerned, I don't know if I have any advice for you guys, because regardless of if Mount Pleasant talked to you and said, yeah, man, play them, it's okay, you would know that you sold the player to the club. Like, you guys are the club administrators, the people that run that club. So you knew in February that you sold them in January. So I don't know if there's any advice for you guys. You guys are just going to have to deal with whatever comes your way. You know what I'm saying? Whatever comes your way. Texicon, bless up, you know. Yeah, man, big up yourself. Nitro, big up yourself as well. Africans in the building, big up, big up, big up. Respect, hope all is well with you over in Canada, my bro. DJ Gigs, blessings. RR say up top, big up yourself. RR Melsha, big up yourself as well. Nitro says sound advice to Mount Pleasant. The other club is in trouble with CONCACAF. Yes, I think they are as well. I think they're gonna have some issues. That is for certain. That is for certain. Hold on, people. Let me I forget to share this thing in somewhere. Let me share it real quick. Yeah, cause you don't know. The more eyes on this, the better, you know, because the word need to get out there. And people, to be honest, you know, I respect all the people that comment while they're here, because I get to realize that a lot of people watch and they don't really want nobody to know that they're here. They're just kind of watching, you know what I mean? So it is what it is still. But anybody who is here, I encourage you guys, man. If you have a thought, your question, drop it in the comment section, because to me, yes, I am the host of the show, but I also know that you guys make the show better with your comments and your views, and it keeps the conversation going. So Don't be shy, people. Drop on the comments in the comment section. And you don't know, I will highlight it. And of course, you know, you can support the channel by dropping your comments in the form of a super chat. Also, we have memberships here on the channel. It's $1.99. And basically, that is just a way to, you know, drop some additional support to the channel, and just help it to grow as well. And, you know, once we have a certain amount of members, we'll start bringing some members only content. That's the content where we might go a little further with our opinions. You understand? And some things don't need the whole crowd, you know. So yeah, once we get to that level, you know, I have a number in mind. Once I get that many subscribers, I'm gonna start doing some members only content where it can get a little spicier, you know. Because trust me, it's like people's favorite word or so, you know. So I don't know. All right, yeah. Let me send off this last one here. Make sure so the people raise the visibility. No, so we're there. I'm see the people are check in, so that is nice. But you don't know. Want to make sure we spread the wealth around. All right, so Michael Garden said, Jason, shouldn't there be a notice stating that Rudolph Speed recluses himself from all rulings since he's affiliated with Cavalier? Well, JFF Competitions and Regulations Committee, of that committee, Rudolph Speed is not a member. So he wouldn't have had anything to do with this particular ruling at all. He wouldn't have anything to do with this particular thing. I know the thinking behind a lot of people's thoughts is that even if he's not formally has a title at something, his hands are everywhere. That could be true, yes. But at the end of the day, a decision like this from an actual subcommittee at the JFF, you know, it's only the ones in that committee. Now, the thing that I don't like about this committee is I don't know why they have to be ghosts. I know the name, and I have done some research about the head of this committee, and that's Ian Campbell. I believe he's a Montego Bay native. I don't think he has anything to do with MBU personally, but I know he's from that side. And I don't know who else is in this committee, to be honest. And whenever I've tried to find out, it is met with, you know, I don't know, people act like I'm asking in another language or something. But I think that as public as they make the board of directors, these committees also need to be made public because, you know, it's just good to know. And I believe conflict is a lot of places in Jamaican football. And I believe that, you know, perhaps because of Speed's, you know, he's always out there. He's made himself available to social media. You know, his team is successful as well. You know, it's like he's the only one that gets met with this whole conflict thing. But there are other people that are employed to clubs that are on the board, on committees in the board, and we don't highlight those things as much. So I am an equal justice person. So I would like to know the names of all these subcommittees and committees. And I know that people are watching this program, so it's not hard to reach out to me. Reach out to me, and so I can see all the committees and the names and the committees, just so we know. Because if you want us to split the justice when we're doing these programs, we need to know the damn information so we can split the damn justice if it is to be split. All right, so you guys can help with that by being more transparent with who is in these committees, and maybe we can find out some more things and try to beat out more conflict in the football. But yeah, I don't think you would have to have a notice in there, Michael, just because we know I know the committees. Well, I know the committees that he would be on. So if it's a technical committee ruling, then yes, we know that he's involved. But something like this, the committee and regulations. The Competition and Regulations Committee is not on that committee. Bless up Kevin Wagwan. We say need some road agent. Hey, no feel so me not have them, you know. I have eyes and ears out there, brother. Me not have phone in a wall like Ryan, but you know, we have ways, bro. This man making spicy content only fans. Big up yourself, we Max it. You're a joker, you know, man. You're a joker. Just let the process run fam, and building the channel. Good things take time and work. Yeah, man. We are putting in the work gigs. That is it. Don't laugh after them thing, man. to this guy talking for a minute. Yeah. Me there chat. Bless up Adam McGregor. Big up, bro. Foundation from one of the first show them you check in, Adam. Big up, good to see you, my brother. Jason, I just saw this name on the middle of the letter with the members that made the rulings. No, Michael Garden, that's the thing, Me did get excited when I see it as well, But if you look at it, it's just the board members. That's it. Officers, President, Michael Ricketts, Vice Presidents, Raymond Grant, Gregory Daly, Elaine Walker Brown, Barry Watson, and Bruce Gaynor. Bruce Gaynor and Rudolph Speed are directors, right? Then you have the Confed chairman who are also members of the board. Sheridan Samuels, Patrick Malcolm, Mark Bennett, Errol Stevens. So that's what, northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest. I think that's how they break down the confederation them now. So yeah, that is that. And then of course, Dennis Chung as the GenSec also on the board. So that is just the actual board members. I would love if somewhere on the end of this, they would say subcommittee members, Ian Campbell head, and then you see the other names. But no, that is, we have to dig and search and dig up fossil and all them something to find it. I don't know why that can't just be public as well. I looked at this constitution on the website trying to find the subcommittee members. It's not there. They have the board on there, which is actually the current board, which thank you for that, because they had the old board on there for a while. But I just don't why that shouldn't be something that you're hiding. Like, tell us the names of the people so we can know who they are. Nobody with the only fans thing. I'm the biggest fan of Mr. Speed. He's a brilliant mind, and Jamaica needs him or others who think outside the box. The coaching program shows he is not myopic. Yeah, look, I think if you were to remove his affiliation to his club, at face value, you can't really go against much of what he talks about. Education, coaching education, that's the biggest thing that he's trying to implement into Jamaican football, and you cannot be upset with that at face value. Anybody who is like fighting against that, it goes back to what I've always said about too many of us in this space, whether it's content creators or even the subscribers and the commenters. We are so quick to pick apart a message someone is bringing just because of the messenger that's bringing it, right? So we need to get out of that. You can beat someone 99 times and then this 100th time now the man bring a chat and it makes sense. Just because you beat him 99 times before that don't mean you can say, yes, this chat where you just make, it makes sense. And I feel like we do that too often, And a lot of times, you're not going to get much from the people that will talk foolishness some of the time, It might be just that one gem, But when you hear the one gem, talk about it just the same as when you hear the 99 foolishness. That's what I'm saying. Jason, not telling you how to do your show, but it would be better to have calling that make the show more interesting. It boring with only your opinion, just my opinion, respect. Yeah, AC, fair. I have had programs where I have a calling segment and stuff, and that's something that I will take note of as well. But a lot of times, AC, what end up happening, is you have to do it in moderation, I think. So like sometimes I watch programs and it's just calling for the whole entire show. And at some point, what I was trying to say would get lost, So there is going to be a segment, AC, every time where I am just talking. Like I'm not going to just have a turn on the show, talk for 5 minutes, and then we'll call in for 2 hours. It's not going to go like that more than likely. So there's going to be a baseline of me talking. And I do agree, AC, I should, after talking for a bunch, at least hear some other voices. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's something that I'm thinking about. And I actually did that last week towards the end of the show. Maybe I'll do it not so close to the end so that there's more time. You know what I'm saying? There's more time. Up JG, big up L Mix. But thanks for the comment, same way, AC. It's something where me meds in all the time, for sure. Learning can never be boring, period. That is true. Learning is always the best way to go. You have to try to learn things, people. Have to. I'm taking my own advice right now. Signing up for a course in August that I've been putting off. So yeah, you have to learn. Basically, some of you guys talk crap and kill the show. Well, Rob Smith, that is something I'm trying to avoid, to be honest. You know, you don't want to muzzle the people watching you, and you want to hear their opinion and stuff. But that is what it comes to sometimes on programs I have watched. You know what I mean? It just becomes like, okay, now what is the actual voice of this program? Because I'm just hearing a bunch of voices, you know? So yeah. Up. People want shows, not learning, just my opinion. Well, that is true as well. I think people do. And that's why, look, I'm not going to fight out somebody for the way they do their content. That is fine. You know what I'm saying? But I think that what works for other people won't work for everyone else. You know what I mean? So, you know, like I said, I think that me driving a conversation, whether I do add in call-ins or even have people on a panel or something like that, the way I would like it to be is like it's the baseline of the information is coming from Jason Gooner, and then people can add in their takes to what I've done already. You know, I think that's the only way where I'll be able to get my true voice across the waves, you know, because it does it's hard to find yourself sometimes in all the noise. So without the noise, maybe I can come through a little clearer and you know, everything like that. Oran Hernandez, bless up, you know. ¿Cómo estás? You're right to some extent, but sometimes some cuckoo juice people love call, which people like me don't want to hear. I think he's trying to avoid. Yeah. Man like JD block me. No, which block you? Block you? For real? Jano. Well, so it goes sometime, you know. A people prerogative for black who they want rotted black, so I never do it got so deep still. El Mix. Yes, we can get the Knicks a 2-3 minutes because I'm not talk about Arsenal today. So anybody bring up Arsenal, just love me. So, but hours later, I get happy. So see it there, Rob Smith black you. You are saying black him. Him are saying black you. And him say him have proof. So Rob Smith, you have proof too? Because him have proof, you know. It's a proof for proof. Yeah, man. No. I don't forget. I remember because I remember when I started the program. Yeah, I remember. We don't have to talk too much. I remember. That's why I asked him if he have proof, because you have the proof. Respect Oran. Yeah, man. All right, so that is that chapter. Again, the chapter not really closed because I think that Real Hope and the players themselves still have some things to answer about. But again, my advice to Mount Pleasant in these playoffs, just wait until CONCACAF has some kind of ruling, whether it's against Mount Pleasant, whether it's against Real Hope themselves. And also Mount Pleasant, you need to make sure that you're in the clear, because I'm sure CONCACAF is going to ask you, hey, you didn't have any knowledge of these players playing. Why never bring this to our attention? Blah, blah, blah. So, you know, I don't know if they're fully in the clear, but on the JPL side of things, it looks like the people that govern the league don't have any point deduction or anything like that. Just a fine for putting the 7 players not born in Jamaica on the match card for that racing game. So that's not a penalty. That's a points deduction. That's just a fine. And $25,000, you do the math, really not that much money. So yeah, it is what it is. May not have proof, but I can't check my setting. But I can check my setting. I don't remember doing that. Okay. Well, we're going to find out who win the blocked war. I've never blocked an account aside from on the channel, which is different. And I've never ever blocked you, boss. You did. Okay. So JD says never block personal people, just like the channel admin will block people off of the channel itself if them going on with madness. So him said there's no way that could have gone, Rob. So I don't know. I can't work that out. The way me see it, none of this is that serious to be blocking people, man. It's just the internet at the end of the day. Unless on a plan for really meet up somewhere and buckle it out, just love it. But Knicks mash up Celtics, 220-point comeback. Them say we couldn't do nothing in the series where I get sweep me. Enough people say where I get sweep and blow out. And we're up 2-0, people. We're up 2-0. No, sometimes it's difficult, you know. I mean, I say at one big happy place, Kumbaya, I need to sing, but it ain't that serious, man, to be blocking and going to mother and all them things like I see in the comments sometimes. It just not make no sense. Cause even me, Me, I have gotten into it with people in the comment section, and I've never taken it to those levels. I mean, I might say something that is a little, rough, but I'm not gonna take it to those levels, man. Where a man want try find my address and all them something. Come on, man, not that deep. Check in BAM Sports. Good interview one night. Yeah, people, if you never see the interview with Christopher Williams and BAM, yeah man, check it in, because it's some good information. And BAM, I think BAM, him did try be firm, but I think Chris Williams is a smart interviewee. So I think he never really let it go to a beating segment too far and kind of calm it down. And Bam did the right thing in that you can't ask a question or ask some line of question to where the man don't even want to answer you or be on your show no more. So yeah, I think you had a good balance, Bam. Come me see I ask if you did go too soft, but I think you did have a good balance. Liverpool Arsenal preview on my channel tomorrow. All right, big up Jordan. Everybody in the building, if you want to see the preview show for the Arsenal Liverpool, Jordan, a Liverpool man, is doing it tomorrow. So check him in, people. Just reach a nice milestone for him sub. So go and make him channel continue to grow. Gunners for life. Yeah, man, still Gunners for life. Trinidad playing high tempo football. Okay. So Oran looking into the Trinidad for the Unity Cup. Yeah, Dwight York have him team playing decent. I thought they did better than people probably thought in their Gold Cup prelim, in terms of the result. I think them kind of fly under the radar a little bit, but it is true. Even that second leg performance was really dominant by them, Yeah, man, they did a one with for real. Like up the live. Yo, I am Coffee Tea, big up, If you're not into the dancehall scene, just link up I am Coffee Tea of all the latest breaking news and thing. Plug in with the artists, them, man, Yeah, man, take in him show, man. Full of vibes. Only Jamaicans I know take YouTube that seriously. I wouldn't say only in a BM, because I see the war thing going in the British space too. Where man literally take it to want to fight them one another and them something. Certain people for ban, no call name. It's gonna take enough for me ban somebody, brother. Trust me. I mean, the disrespect and the mother thing, not for go on. That's really my stance. Like, that's really my stance on it. Just blow out, Share the life. Yeah, man, make them know. We can agree to disagree. It doesn't have to get disrespectful. That is it. Simple. Yeah, exactly. That's what I tell him. Like, I see it going in the British space, America, maybe not with the sports stuff in America as much, but brother, all up to ESPN and Fox and them, man, they are war. And them at them an actual traditional thing. So yeah, man, it's gonna happen, but so it go. Respect, yeah, man, God and time. That is it. That is it. Show me the people them afraid. Yeah, exactly. Where say a coach make the people them afraid? Man, them want to know what going with footer. They say some ability thump up words make him get black. Yeah, man, Bam do him thing, man. They like it, man. Suriname and Lower fight. Yeah. That was the time when everything did a kick off. It's a big war in the space. But all right, so let's move on, people. First things, since we had talked about the JPL and the competitions committee ruling, what I want to do, people, is just real fast, just preview the games tonight. Try pick some winner in the first leg. The first leg will be taking place tonight, and then the second leg will be taking place on the 12th. So that should be the Monday night as well. So Thursday night and Monday night is what they have gone for. I think tonight is at Sabina Park, and I'm trying to remember where they're playing the next one. If it's out at Catherine Hall or that's not until the semi-final. Let me double check that, people. Because I don't think Sabina hosting both of these, you know. Go to the JPL Insta real quick and just double check that, people. Or maybe somebody in the comments going to put it, but I'm just look for myself real quick. Jamaica Premier League. All right, here we go. So we have tomorrow. So that is that. They had a thing that was okay. Here it is. Okay, so both of them going to be at Sabina Park, and then Catherine Hall is actually hosting the first leg of the semi, and then back at Sabina for the second leg of the semi, and then the stadium will host the final. So that's where the venue is going to be. So we have. Let me pull this up so you guys can see what I'm looking at. I just went to the JPL Insta, and they have it up there how it's gonna run, the dates, the venues and everything. So this is it, people. So this is today, May 8th at Sabina, quarterfinal, first leg. First leg at Sabina, Mobe and Tivoli, and Cavalier and Portmore, right? So what's interesting about the whole setup, people, and let me know if you agree with this. If Mount Pleasant is the first ranked team, right? Wouldn't it make more sense that whichever team is the lowest ranked team play Mount Pleasant in the semi-final based on how it happened? Because right now, if Mobe go through and beat Tivoli, which I am going to predict happening, that means Mount Pleasant have forgot Mobe, who was third in the league, and Arnett, who finished second, will play the fourth or the fifth. To me, that don't make no sense. Whichever is the highest team left should buck Arnett next round, and whichever is the lowest team left should buck Mount Pleasant. How me sound, people? It look like it done plan out already, Like the winner of this are going to play Arnett, and the winner of this are going to play Mount Pleasant. But that's not fair to me. That's not fair to me. What I say? Because when you look on it, NBA do it like this, where just them have a bracket and wherever you end up, you end up. But you see NFL, you see every time a round finish, NFL make sure the highest seed play the lowest seed in the next round. And to me, that's the fairest way, because you want to give Mount Pleasant the quote unquote easiest run, because they deserve it. Them run away with the league. So how you going to make the third place team play them in the semi-final? No, in the NBA, them don't reseed it, Juras. Them keep the bracket them all right through, which I always disagreed with as well. Because if the 8th seed upset the first seed in the first round, now the 8th seed fair play the 2 seed next round, because you want to give the highest seed to play the worst seed. But they don't do it that way in the NBA. But in the NFL, they do it that way. And I think that's the fairest way, because you don't want to penalize Mount Pleasant with a semi-final game against the third best team, who up to the last week was in second place. And you have a team like Portmore or Cavalier, who was lower in the table, playing against Arnett, who finished second when Mount Pleasant finished first. It doesn't make no sense to me. So I'm son with that, people. I'm gonna suggest that instead of doing this, where you have the brackets made out already and you know who's going to face, which winner you're going to face, I would think that the more prudent thing to do is you say whichever is the lowest seeded team left, them going to face Mount Pleasant in the semi-final, and whichever team is not, the next team, they would face Arnett, because fair is fair, man. Mount Pleasant not deserve to play the third best team in the semi when a team lower than them in the semi to play. To me, that don't make no sense. But I don't know if I am just looking at things too crazy now. I don't know. But to me, they should do it that way. They should not have it set in stone that Cavalier or Portmore going to play on it. Because to me, if Mobe get through against Tivoli, Mount Pleasant have the most difficult opponent in the semi-final to play. So that is them reward for finishing so far above everybody in the league. Yeah, it don't make no sense. Man, time already buy them ticket to Big Ben already. If you were to choose an all-star JPL team, could it compete and win the CONCACAF Champions Cup? I don't think it would win the Champions Cup, but it would definitely be better than what we put out so far. Because, you know, we have talked about this before, where in these competitions, would it be better to just send an all-star team instead of a club? But because of the payouts and stuff, and then dividing out the monies that you would win, I don't think that could work. You know, so it's just a matter of time. As long as them not bring in the salary cap like me here, them want to bring in. Mount Pleasant will eventually have all the best players, so you know they will just be the ones competing all the time in it. You know what I mean? So Jason, you want to see Cavalier versus MPL in the semis for Speed to beat Tapa again? Well, Boss Thomas, to me, you know, I just feel like whatever team is the lowest team ranking left, they should play Mount Pleasant in the semi. It shouldn't be set in stone that they're going to play the winner of this one right here, to me. Yeah, the NBA does it just like this. Yes, that is true. And I think that it's wrong. I think they shouldn't do it that way. Pleasant getting the better of them this time around. Well, Speed will tell you the whole history of the matchup, you know. But what Speed not telling you is that the more recent ones, you can see it leaning towards Mount Pleasant now. Even though them give them 2-1 the last time, them draw before that, them lose before that. So, yeah, it's getting, yes, in the start of the series, Cavalier always used to beat them. But as Mount Pleasant grow as a club and as a institution and the player them get better and stuff, you see the gap closing to where I don't think they have this thing over them like what Speed's saying, you know. We will see, but I will be betting on Cavaliers because I just believe Speed will find a way to beat Tapa. We shall see. If say he's betting the opposite, all right. So we're gonna see who for just bet ticket don't get bust. Yeah. So look, real quick, people. The games are tonight. I know that I think the Mobe game is first, if I'm not mistaken. The Mobe Tivoli game. Let me just double check that as well. I think that's the first one. So, what do you guys think prediction wise? We don't have to predict the entire tie. There's no away goals or anything. It's just going to be straight 2 legs. And this first game will be at Sabina Park. The first set of games tonight. They will be back at Sabina on Monday night as well. So, you know, Mobe have some traveling to do. I wonder if Mobe will just stay in town. Probably not. Probably drive home on the highway and go back and relax till them have to forward Monday again. But yeah, what are your score predictions for this one, people? Let me know in the comment section. Tonight's game, the first one is going to be, as I said, Tivoli Gardens and Montego Bay. So Tivoli Gardens and Montego Bay will play the first matchup tonight. When you look at Tivoli Gardens team, they have had a decent ending to the season. You know, when you look at their form, they have been able to chase down Waterhouse. At one point, they were even down to 8th, you know, but they were able to stay close enough. I think they got a lot of draw results when they probably could have lost, and that probably saved them in the end of the day. And I think, you know, the form of some of their players towards the end of the season, you know, Fuller, among others, you know, they have been able to grind out some results. So let's just take a look at the results that we have seen for them leading into this playoffs and just try to compare them to what we have seen from Montego Bay United, right? So Tivoli Gardens, you see them here on the screen. So let's just pull up their recent matches going into the playoffs. So yeah, so this would have been their final game of the season, a big scalp. You know, the atmosphere at the Eddie Seaga ground was electric. From what Jerome Wade said, he said it was really a victory for the fans and the turnout. And this result pretty much made sure that they made it into the top 6. They were able to beat Mobe, and actually, funny enough, this is what caused Mobe to have to play against them in this quarterfinal, because they did have the upper hand over Arnett going into the last round. But Arnett dispatched their opponents with ease. And Montego Bay was not able to do so, falling to Tivoli Gardens 2-1. So Lennox Russell, who also had a decent end to the season, he scored as well as a full penalty after they went down to Johan Weatherly early. So look, these two teams, I think Jerome Waite in this league, a very, very experienced coach, as well as Mobe's coach as well, Paul Teagat Davis. But I think Teagat Davis has had less time with this Mobe team than what Jerome Waite would have had with this Tivoli team. And I think, that to me is the great equalizer in this tie. I think Mobe have the better team when you look at the players overall. But I do think that when you look at Tivoli, they were able to score 61 goals, concede 48. When you look at Mobe, much more stingy defensively, but the goals are pretty similar. So for me, that's going to be the difference. I think the likes of Triminam, Hospedales on the back line, among others, I think their midfield as well. When you look at Lima, the Brazilian, in their midfield, Damario Phillips as well in their midfield. I just feel like that's where they're going to have the definite upper hand. And I also would say that, the attacking players as well, I think they might have a bit more and also can go to their bench and still have some options too. Shanil Thomas, Weatherly is always a good option off the bench, even though he started the last game. Brian Brown, Owen Garden, they have some good players in the attack. And I just feel like they have a little bit more in the system. Again, I think Jerome Waite with his experience will probably keep the tie close, so it will be exciting. But I give Mobe the slight edge in this one. You know what I mean? I give them the slight edge over the two legs. So I could see them getting over the line either by 2 goals on aggregate or just 1. But I think in this first fixture tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if the first game draw, to be honest, like a 1-1 or something like that. But I still give Mobe the edge over the 2 legs. And I'm going to say Mobe will get through to the semifinals, right? Looking at Tivoli, though, as they have them on the screen, they finished out the season unbeaten in a while. They had some draws, though, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 wins. And then if you go even before that now, it's been quite a while since Tivoli lose a game, and we're back to March 12th now, moving right through. Their last loss was all the way on March the 6th. So quite a few game weeks, not winning all those games, but staying in matches, drawing matches. And you can see before that in February, they had a run that was horrible with all these L's. So they have had an up and down period, but I think they're definitely on an upward right now. So they're a dangerous team going into this playoff. Now, when you juxtapose how they ended the season with Mobe, right? Mobe only had 6 losses on the season, so a lot less losses. They had 1 less draw over the games, but a lot more wins. But when you look at Mobe's end to the season, you will see a lot more indifferent results, right? So they lost to Mount Pleasant to beat everyone, and they lost to Tivoli. But then around that now, they had some wins against Cavalier. That was a good win. They beat Racing 3-0. They beat Mobe, beat Dunbehold in 4-0. They drew with Waterhouse. Then moving on, they didn't have any losses for a while, but some draws mixed in with some wins. Then we're going back into the rest of March now. They weren't losing many games. They drew in February to Mount Pleasant. That's a good result. Drew with Racing. And you see, there's not many losses, leading up to this final week of the season. And, what do you put that down to? Like looking too far ahead to the playoffs? Do you think that it's just a dip in form? What do you guys think would have contributed to them? They only had 6 losses all season, and 2 of those losses came in the last 4 rounds. So is that something to worry about? Any Mobe fans in the building or people that follow Mobe? What do you put down this ending to? Because for me, people, I know it was kind of mutual why they got rid of their Argentinian coach, but I didn't see the need for that move. I thought that coach had them playing some of the best football in the league, and yes, they went to another experienced person in Teagat Davis. But I would love to talk to the powers over there and really figure out like why you guys made that move, because to me it never made no sense. Based on how the team was looking, playing, the philosophy he was using, I think he was getting the best out of players as well. I was so shocked by that. A lot of people that are more in the know with that team tell me that the writing had been on the wall a long time, but as somebody on the outside looking into that situation, it never made no sense to me to move that coach. But they might be proven to be prophets once this playoff is over. But to be honest, I don't see it, people. I think they were looking more dangerous under the previous manager. I don't think Tigat has been able to get the best out of them. I think the 4-0 and the 3-love are probably the only games I remember them attacking wise looking really, really dangerous. You know, I remember under Zapata, they were creating a lot of chances and just were wasteful a lot of the time. But I don't see that same situation going on under this coach. But with all that being said, I still feel like I'm going to be able to have enough to get past Tivoli over the 2 legs, people. It's the next round I worry about them moving forward, you know. But yeah, I'm going to say Montego Bay gets over the line, even though the recent form would suggest they might have more problem than we think, right? So for me, Mobe to get past Tivoli in their match. Now, the other fixture, people, on face value, I think a lot of people would just automatically say, yo, Cavalier getting through this one, right? I would think most people would say that. But one thing I want to point out about this matchup is Portmore have a superpower that over a 2-leg game with no away goals and everything, it can prove to be something very crucial for you. And that is their defensive record. So Portmore has conceded 25 goals from 39 games, people. You guys see that on the screen? 25 goals conceded from 39 games. Cavalier, on the other hand, have conceded 43, so 18 more goals. Now, what I would also like to point out is the difference in offensive output. 65 goals scored by Cavalier to just 46 scored by Portmore. So that is non-playoff goal scoring form, if we're being honest. You know, you look at Lions United, well out of the playoff race. They scored 40 goals, close to what Portmore scored. Racing had a terrible start to the season and really only kick on after about the first round done. They got to 43 goals. Waterhouse 44. So Portmore in the goal scoring department definitely don't look like a playoff team, right? I think they're the only playoff team as well that don't have any goal scorer that score more than 5 goals. So they definitely have issues on the offensive side of the ball. But one thing that you cannot downplay is their defensive strength, right? I think Rudolph Austin has a system set up where his team is going to be ready to defend. They have good numbers behind the ball. Everybody works hard for the team. And Rudolph Austin said, listen, I'm going to lay that as my foundation, and we're going to see how far we can get with that strategy. Because I think he probably looked at his team and said, listen, in the attacking areas, I just don't have the firepower like some teams. So let me kind of do my thing a little different. So the last game of the season, right, this was when they played against Racing. You know, they do have attacking players that have decent quality, though. The likes of Cardell Benbow, who joined back this season. Robinson is a decent attacking player. Guthrie, of course, in the midfield. You know, Siegel Knight, maybe a little deeper line player, but can get forward as well. You know, Zimenez is on the roster, who we know can play as an attacker. Lately, he has been playing more of a right-back role, like what we used to see him do at the youth level. But you know he can be in the attack as well. You know, you look at the game they played against Dunby Holden, which was a 1-0 defeat. You know, one constant that you will see, I think Russell is one of the more underrated goalkeepers in the league. You know, been very, very consistent this season on a team with a stingy defensive record. And people who know of the players I talk about in the JPL, you know that I have always had a liking for Stephen Young. I think he's just a hard-nosed defender. Maybe at times need to calm down with the tackling strength, you know, because sometimes I see him put in some tackles and I'm like, damn, you know, in other leagues that might not be able to survive, you know, you're going to get red cards and stuff. Emilio Resso has been converted from a left back to a centre back, and that's been a decent move for him. He's been doing well partnering Stephen Young. So, you know, their defensive setup is really good. Also, you know, Zane Pinnock hasn't really had the numbers attacking wise this season, but that's a player that we know from, you know, Phoenix and Mona High School winning the Manning Cup with them. And he's now at Portmore playing. So Yeah, Portmore, a team that, as I said, gonna struggle to score goals, but you're gonna struggle to score goals against them as well. So in a two-leg tie, they can keep the score down, keep it close. I'd put it this way: I don't see Cavalier being able to just win this one by 3, 4, 5 clear goals. I don't see it. Now, Cavalier, on the other hand, when you look at their roster and their team, one thing that you have to point out is you see that issue that Portmore having with the goal scorers and the lack of goal scorers. Cavalier does not have that issue, people. Trust me, because when you look at their team, if you look at the statistics for the season, right, for the players, I'm going to show you guys on the screen. Actually, I won't be able to show you that on here because let me go to the site again and see some. So that I can't see the full list. Guess not. Man, I'm going to show the top 5. Why we can't see everybody? Player stats. Okay, see it. Yeah. All right, cool. So, okay, cool. So this is it. All right, so I can show it. So let me show you guys. There's a goal scoring chart for the season right here that I'm going to pull up, people. And there was struggle to find Portmore people on the list, but it's a Cavaliers players, they won't have a problem with them and Mount Pleasant especially. So this is the goal scoring chart. Warner Brown 21 goals, Jalmara Calvin from Cavalier 20. Then you look down further, Atkinson and Shaquille Stein with 12. So that's 3 players from Cavalier that scored 10 or more goals this season, right? So the bulk of their goals come from those 3 players for sure. As you go down the list, and you're not going to see another Cavalier player for a while. Ainsworth and King both with 4. They're both more defensive players that get up the field at times. King from set pieces sometimes and penalties too, he takes sometimes. But yeah, those 3, Stein, Busy, and Calvin, in terms of goal scoring over the season, big time. And then when you look at the additions to those 3 that they have made, well, the main addition, I would say, would be Jamila Reiters from Suriname. And he hasn't really, set the world ablaze in terms of output. But trust me, you see the amount of goals that they've been scoring of late is a big reason why it's happening. Because his ball retention is something that they never had in their team from anyone. And adding that to what they bring to the table has helped them so much in their attack, decision making, setting up more goals for other people. You've seen Busy score more goals since Richter's arrived. Calvin was always scoring this season, but even he has had a nice uptick because he was some ways away from Brown a couple of weeks ago, and he was able to end the season off with a nice little run. So, it's gonna be exciting. I think the matchups are decent. I think Mobe is definitely better than Tivoli, but because Tivoli is on the form they're on right now, it kind of equalized that game a little more for me. And then the Portmore Cavalier game, Cavalier definitely have the experience in this competition of us getting through these ties. So you have to give them that. And of course, when it comes down to coaching, Speed would have a lot more experience than Austin. But I think Austin is okay with a game plan that can definitely stifle what Cavalier want to do. So I feel like with that being said, I am picking Cavalier to get through. I'm not going to go for the upset of Portmore beating them. But I just feel like this tie is going to be closer than people think. So I could say Cavalier getting through, but just by the odd goal. It's going to be close. I don't think Cavalier run away with it by any huge margin. I just don't see that happening. It's possible, but I don't think it will happen. All right, let me get back to the comment section real quick. And that's pretty much the segment for the JPL today. So I'm going with Mobe and Cavalier, but I think the games will be closer than what people might think right now. All right? Yeah, that's my take on that. What do you think about Mason Greenwood not being nominated for French Player of the Year? Interesting call by the French by the French media. I would think he would have done enough to at least be in the nomination for sure. But it is what it is. I hope that the semifinals are played on the best field so we can see very good competition. Well, Sabina is one of the best fields, and that's going to host the second leg. And the first leg is Catherine Hall. So, if Jamaicans have a way of making a field look decent when they know that they want it to. So hopefully it will be one of them occasions for catching all, because I don't think that's the best facility or field, to be honest. But hopefully them can just be working on it over time to get it ready. Because I think that date is what the 15th is the first leg, I want to say, or the 16th, something like that. Don't care about history. MPA ever slapped them up. MPA dealt with league how they should this year. Nobody close to them. That is true. I am more likely to see the coaching strategies at play, not necessarily the players, as now is the time for brighter minds at play. What do you think, Jason? Yeah, I think that there's a reason why this man Speed come with a team of like 10-year-olds every year and reach far. It must be that his preparation is on a different level, and he might be looking at things that other coaches not quite looking at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I would love to know who nominated. Mason Green reminds me of Chris Brown. It doesn't matter how great he becomes, people will never forgive him for that one incident. Yeah, it's going to be tough. There's always going to be that faction of people that, just don't understand why people want to see him do well in life. I don't get it. He must just never do anything in life, ever. Mobe should win this one. Yes, I agree. 2-1 win Cavaliers, and second leg 1-0. Tivoli will win 3-2. Wow. So Boston was going for the Tivoli upset of Montego Bay. Interesting. PSG entire team plus Shirky. Well, if Shirky get nominated, then surely Green will get nominated too. I mean, he has done more than Shirky this season. The game analysts, what are you seeing coming from our coaches after 39 games, and what do they need to do for improvement? So JD, if you're still in the building, I think Michael Gordon has a question for you. JD said, is that for me or him? Because I have stole his name, Well, I never took the name. It was given. I will be looking at Fuller to see how he manages against better players. Yes, there are some players. That's a nice convo, Boss Thomas. Who are the players that you're looking out for a performance in this quarterfinal? That you're saying, okay, I want to see how them play. Because I will be watching all 4 of these games, So, yeah, because I would think if what we are led to believe, and this is a good segue because I wanted to talk about the article that I saw. I think I saw JD talk about this morning on his program, if I'm not mistaken, about the Unity Cup. I think there was some words said about it, and I'm trying to find the article. Was it the Gleaner or the Observer? Okay, yeah, there we go. It was the Observer. All right, so this was from yesterday, and we're gonna bring it up. I know people might say I'm lying with the words or something, so I bring it up on screen. Let me try to run through the comments real quick. Okay, we'll get the list. Shirky Dembele, Due, Hakimi, Vitinha, Due. That's mad. Barcola start the season so much and got Barcola got about 20 goals, and I'm gonna make the list. No Fabian Ruiz either. No Mendes. I'm surprised Due was the one that them put. To be honest, PSG team is actually better than his. Not sure if that was a plus for the PSG players, but both contributions, he's doing well to me. Yeah, he could have get nominated, man. He's going to have to be comfortable knowing he's never going to win any awards voted by the media. That is true. That is true. That's one thing you have to figure out. Is this players voting for this, or is it media? If it is media, I think he would have to score about 1,000 goals to even get nominated, and he still might not win. I think the coach that left Mobe is better. I do as well. Michael Gordon, JPL is just a lot of running around, not much technical football. The teams that are doing well, they have more technical football going on, Omar Fowling, to be fair. Because I think that Austin is a technical coach. Even though he don't score no goal, him look like him just want to master the defensive side. Portmore don't score enough goals. That's true. Don't think so. Portmore defense very stingy. It's going to be tough. Yeah, man. Anybody think Cavalier that's going to dog walk them? You know Portmore defensive setup. Honestly, Portmore is a very tough opponent. They will give Cavaliers a big challenge. I agree. Cavalier will score, but can Portmore score a goal? Zapata was a brilliant coach, and I thought he had his team on the bubble. Yeah, man. I was one of my favorite teams to watch under that coach. Yeah, Benbow is not the same Benbow. That is true. Bless up float. If MPL doesn't make the Caribbean Cup, I would consider, it's madness. Aaron Bissaga has made decision to switch nationalities from England to Congo. A long time him should have do that. Because them not rate him over there. Look how long the man a play good. And them a run down right back, left, right, and center. According to SofaScore, them stats is above him except Due and Vitinha. So you got a point. Okay, the stats better. Yeah, I saw that. Not the host JD I asked. You have the ball knowledge as you are in Belgium working in football. Yeah, man. Me tell you, say you in my ask, man. You can answer, man. I won't take offense. You can answer. I'll even read it out. I think the tiebreaker would be which of you did born first. Oh, well, everybody know JD older, so him for answer. No, man, you older, man. Me younger than you, man. He's one of the best players in France. They just don't rate him because of the incident. Yeah. Fuller is a good baller. Hopefully he gets a contract to Europe after the season. Yeah, I think he has the potential to go overseas and play. Yes, I do. Okay, so him says it's hard to assess because some have young players and good coaches and others leading the league with older players but not so good coach. So, yeah, all right. Bless up Tycoon. What go on? There, I know. We Max it busy, bro. Man want to stream everything, but he don't have the time, I don't think. Him say it's improving, but nowhere near world-class level standard. JPL ball wasn't bad this year. Yeah, man, I saw some improvements. I mean, it's still not where I would love it to be, but I'm seeing more coaches actually have a plan. Like, that's the main difference I'm seeing. Yeah, man, when him have the time, he move forward again before the game. That is for sure. He was impressive last season in Spain after being out for almost 2 years. Yep. So what's needed to grow our coaches? More of the same. I think having more fixtures in the season helps, right? Because it give them, really show them how to take on a team over a season. So you have to think about, peak time and when to pull back players for their fitness and, just give them more things to think about as a coach. But I think overall, the more opportunities to coach a game, watch back a game, it can only help, you know what I mean? But yeah, more education, keep the standards high for sure. Don't get upset when people bringing up standards. Standards is a way to improve. So we can't get upset when people bring in standards because sometimes that's how we're moving. Why this man come with him different style now? It's because we need to change things and get better. Sometimes that means a different style, All right, people. So moving in, as I said, segue into the Unity Cup. When I talk about JPL, we know that the JPL basically move up them playoffs so that players would be able to play in the Unity Cup. The final at first was due to be the 26th, which would have been one day before the Trinidad game. It has since been moved to the 23rd, which to me is still not enough time, But, at least it's feasible now. If they play 23rd, I guess them fly out the 24th and go down because you want to be there for maybe a few days to train, one train and then a walkthrough and then play the game, right? So, it's still a quick turnaround, but JPL did make that move, the organizers, to make sure that the players could go if they want to go to this, or if they get called to this Unity Cup, right? So this was the article, and I'm pretty sure this is what JD was talking about earlier today. But I'm just going to show you guys on the screen, read it out real fast, and then we'll have a discussion about the whole Unity Cup, the players, all of that. Because the levels below, the level below the Premier League in England especially, all those leagues would have ended on the 3rd of May. So any player in those leagues eligible to play for us, they would, in my mind, be like the first place you'd be looking. Obviously, we need to add to that they have to not be participating in the playoffs, right? Because that is starting this week. We have Charlton playing this week, Coventry playing this week. So there are players who are in those leagues that wouldn't be available due to the playoffs, right? But there are others who didn't make the playoffs who would be available. So anyway, this is the article. Jamaica Football Federation President Michael Ricketts says he expects that a number of locally based players will be given the opportunity to represent the country in the Unity Cup tournament in England later this month. Now, first and foremost, people, are you guys fine with Mr. Ricketts, who is the president of the Jamaica Football Federation, making comments about players selected in a team? Are you guys okay with that? Because to me, that's kind of weird, Like, this man don't have nothing to do with picking the team, you know. But he's coming out and telling us that locally based players will be given the opportunity. So again, when man come on here and say things like, well, if the coach not pick the team, they need to let him go. How many times we need to hear administrators, former coaches themselves, all kind of people tell me that there is an element to it that the coach, yes, is picking the players, but we kind of give him a directive of which players to pick from. You guys have to admit that there's an element of that going on in the Jamaican setup, for sure. Yeah, footballing education. So that would be at every level, not just the coaches. So players need to get more involved in classroom education in terms of like the coaches, like implementing that into their coaching, film work, video work. I think also, we may not have the manpower in the coaching staffs, but I think more directed training to players. So I think there's a direct correlation between, all right, you see like a player like Warner Brown, last year was in the same league and the same team and wasn't anywhere near as prolific. So that leads me to believe, yes, somebody in Arnett's staff has developed this guy's finishing or worked with him on his finishing and his movement. Because you see a marked difference in how him playing this year to last year. Because even though him never scored a goal last year, or many goals, I think he wasn't getting into the opportunities he wasn't getting into the areas where I'm getting into this year. So somebody has worked on his movement and his finishing. And I think that Arnett is one of the clubs that run a professional type setup. So they will have the power and the ability to develop a player like Warner Brown because they might have an extra coach that can give him that 30 to 45 minutes every day on movement and finishing. Whereas other clubs might just have the head coach and the assistant and them don't have enough to really focus on a thing for a player. So I think more professionalism in the setups, raising the standards like JD said, that will force teams to make sure that them coaching staff full up, them can develop on little things, and improve players as time goes along. Because Warner Brown has improved from year to year, and he did that improvement inside the JPL, which is great. Most of the time, we are saying they can't improve until they go overseas. But I have seen him improve from one year to the next in the same Arne Gardens team. Even the championship players going to want a vacation. Yeah, but those championship players can't take the vacation right now. I mean, we're in May 8th. They could be in Greece right now, relaxing. And there's plenty of time. You know what I mean? Another thing that have to improve Michael Garden as far as education, and that's why I say all aspects, not just coaching, players, and scouts and evaluators. Because I think that's one of the biggest issues in Jamaica. We fall in love with players and stay with them too long, even when the writing is on the wall that maybe you made a mistake on this player. And I just feel like how we evaluate attributes and what players do, we value certain attributes way too high when we're evaluating the overall player. So if a man can kick a long shot, that come in like him being God in Jamaica. If a man can bust, lace, and tackle, man, that come in like a next godly trait in Jamaica. When you look worldwide at evaluators, those two things are one of the last things they would worry about. So I think the way we evaluate players needs to evolve as well. Personally. Big up Conrad, Wagwan. You out of the gym? Conrad is a man work out all 7 times a day. When we saw the dates, we knew. Yeah, we did know, but we also knew that there would be players. Because what we tend to do, Rob, if one situation control everything. But like I say, it's a lot of different variables that you have to look at. So because we know that Coventry and Charlton made the playoffs, there are other players who aren't in that boat. So that whole vacation time you're talking about is being taken now, or can be taken now. I have to see him more. I don't think he at that level. Yeah, no, this conversation is not saying that Warner Brown is at the level to play for Jamaica every time, you know. But I'm saying, like, I can admit that what I saw from Warner Brown last season to this season, it's an improved player. Now, whether that improvement means that he's at the level to play for Jamaica against all opponents Jamaica could play, that's another debate. But I'm just saying I have seen him improve inside the JPL season to season, which I think that's something that we haven't been seeing over time in the JPL players. It seemed like they just stagnated when they're playing in the JPL. But Warner Brown did improve. Must improve the quality of the playing surfaces. It reduced the quality of the games, all levels, anywhere in the world. That is true. That is true. Because look, I feel like when you see like Cavaliers, for example, right? When they saw them play the 2 legs against Inter Miami, it wasn't the greatest performance in the world in terms of passing, but the passing was better in that game. So it must have had something to do with the field. You know, and even the game in the stadium field wasn't like fully horrible. Like that was one of the better I seen it. Like them say, yo, we can't disappoint Messi, you know. Yeah, we struggle with talents, bro. I'm telling you. We struggle with talents. But yes, the field surfaces, and I have said many times, get with the agronomists that do the golf courses, brother, and hire them. All clubs with fields or anybody who is responsible for the fields, just talk to the Constant Spring superintendent, Caymanas Golf Club, Sandals Golf Club, Trial, hire all of them people. Those are the people that will get the grass looking the way it's supposed to look, and they know how to maintain it. Because remember, you know how a field get dig up after the game is same way the golf course get dig up every day, because when the club swing, it dig out the turf. So not only do they know how to get it to look a certain way, they know how to get it back to looking that way after being used. And that's where we fall flat on our face every time. We build fancy stuff and it looks real nice at the beginning, and we don't pay enough attention to maintenance. That is our issue. DJ Gigs, he said he doesn't care about individual awards. The focus is getting Manchester to the Champions League. All right, cool. Unity Cup no make no sense. Much going on in the summer for it. Yeah, look, it makes sense to the African teams because they don't have games in the summer. Literally, they don't have any games. They don't have World Cup qualifiers again until September. And they don't have no African qualifier. They don't have nothing. So they can have their break. So for them, it makes perfect sense. Let's do it right after the season so that them don't start to take them vacation yet. And then after that, them have them full vacation of June. And then July, when the club them call them can go to the club. Simple. But we don't have that luxury because we have Gold Cup, we have World Cup qualifiers. So it's a difference for the 2 Caribbean nations than the African them. That's why I think the African teams, while I know they're going to blood some new players, I think they probably will have one or a few superstars as well, because they can take their break right after that at all levels. Yeah, that's true. Or at all levels, anywhere in the world. Yeah. Brother, golf at Richmond Sports. I know you as an uptown, you know that. Yes, I'm not saying that. No, but my point is, Rob, is that the people with the knowledge to keep a field looking a certain way, they are living in Jamaica. They just work for golf courses. And I'm saying, when I'll always go back to when I was a youth and they were trying to fix the stadium field, and all Independence Park did was reach out to Caymanas Golf Club, and they literally, as a consultant, they got the guy from out there to do it. And the man was doing it out of the goodness, bro. It's not like it, because I think you're thinking that, oh, they can't afford to pay someone. Brother, some people love football, you know, out there, you know. So if that's why I say reach out to your local golf course, because if I am in Montego Bay, golf course out of Bay, you know, reach out to the man them we run the golf course on Bay and say, yo, Montego Bay United need to fix them field, They might all just do it. And then you just say, yo, bring you and your family to all the game them, and them happy with that. You never know where it can work out, Rob. But I just feel like the power of the mind is there to upkeep the field, and they won't use it. It don't make no sense. Yes, those partnerships can help, but I'm saying they need to just partner with a golf course, period, or partner with a hotel that have a golf course. But does Rowan have a golf course? I guess so. I know them have the football facility thing. I remember the JPL CEO talked about their ambition to improve fields in press conference a few months ago. Any progress on those plans? Well, that's one thing that I didn't hear Bam talk about in his interview, was like the plan for the fields and stuff. So that's something that maybe I'll have to reach out, because I have a link to him, you know. Can maybe reach out and maybe I'm gonna do an interview, but I'll ask that specific question and bring the answer to you. Matter of fact, I don't want to forget, because you're right. They did mention that and having some plans for that, but we haven't really heard any follow-up with that. We'll see if we can put some fire to that whole situation. All right, my little notes, people, because I don't want to forget this. PFJL improving. How will you evaluate a Fuller from Tivoli and Allen from Cavalier? Or will we develop them into better players plus out of Jamaica? Well, look, I think any midfielder playing in Jamaica currently, like midfielders especially, you're behind the 8 ball, because we don't have metrics to show evaluators around the world. If somebody asks me what is Allen passing accuracy for the season, I couldn't tell you that. Now, Speed will probably tell you that them have all of that tracked, but at the end of the day, that is your club tracking something. So would you want to be tracking it and it look bad? So that's why it have to be independent people doing the stats. That's why you sign up with a company, you put the tracker on the player, and it count all the things with them doing in the game. Touches, passing accuracy, forward pass, you know, all those things, duels. We don't have access to those statistics. So it's always going to come down to a relationships game with Jamaican players. That's why you see international dimension transferring all the damn players, because he's built these relationships. That's why you see the Phoenix boss, Butler, getting at least trials and getting his players seen places. That's relationships doing that. There's no metric for midfielders especially, and even defenders too, that you can show people based off of a metrics or a stat sheet. I want to even come watch this player. So in order to even get them seen, you know, to be evaluated fully, you know, we need to improve how we record the data. That's the first thing. Now, the attacking players, it's a little bit, it's still not as easy, but at least you have goals. So you can say this player has done this amount of goals in this amount of games or minutes, right? But even that is just touching the surface of evaluation of an attacker. I would love to see shot conversion rate. I would love to see how many big chances missed over the season. These are the things that we need to get better at. And these are the things that don't require any huge amounts of money, because that's always the reason behind not doing things in Jamaican football is the money. But those things don't require money. Yes, it is an investment, right? But I don't think it's going to bankrupt the league to make sure that we're recording the statistical data on an international standard level. I don't think that's the case. He did mention, though, that the importance of making sure that all the games are actually filmed is paramount, because not only do they want the recording of the stats to be perfect and right, so that they can give, you know, updates to whoever is looking for these players, but also they want to be able to put the eyes to the stats. So if Sportsmax is only showing us 4 games a week, and that's what you've worked out, and that's the thing, fine. But there needs to be a way to film the other games as well, at least for access for the scouts. Now, selfishly, I would want access to all of them. But if you can't show me because Sportsmax say you can't see it or whatever the case is, whatever. But don't hide those games from those who really need to see them in order to make these decisions to even get these players. So we need to improve that. But yeah, I think better recording of data will help the development because then you can know what they need to work on more. It's a football ain't a poor man's sport. Why go to a tournament like that without your best? Well, it's necessity. You know, you want to take your best everywhere, but we have to also look at it realistically. We have Gold Cup and World Cup to play afterwards. Why the genset may leave? Is there problems? Fouling, I have not done the research as to why as yet, and that's purposely why I never put it in the title today, because I just don't think that I don't have enough information as to why. Now, this is something that I've heard from months ago, you know, that this is possible, that he wasn't going to renew when his contract is up. You know what I mean? There's more resources in golf. Unfortunately, I agree 100% stadium always in use, but no money for upkeep. Yeah, that's the thing. We need to, when we're budgeting these operations for fields, we need to budget more for maintenance because that's why these fields go under. We don't have the resources to maintain the field, but it's because we don't budget for that. We just want to make sure it looks nice for when the season starts, and then maybe we do our next niceness for the playoffs. But by the time, like Sabina Park, for example, if rain fall before the first leg, by the time them complete the second leg, you know, the field don't look as good again, you know. So it just depends. It just depends. Yeah, man. From time may I say the golf course superintendent, them are the key. It is a chance to sell players. Hence, you see King signed to the Unique Sports Group. Not an issue, but the timing and the cost. Okay. But is it that? So I would assume that the Unity Cup people are putting up the teams. So lodging is no cost. Are they not flying out the teams and in the teams at all? I know sometimes they might do the return, but not the flight too. I don't know. That's something that we'd have to find out. Where the hell is Malachi Douglas? Good question. Some of see him play for Dundee Holding the other day. No score a goal the other day. Could I swear him score a goal the other day? Yeah, man, team's gonna be mixed for this because everybody have leagues playing around the world, so team's gonna be mixed. Well, I guess the Genset got the restrictions removed, so he's on to the next one. Maybe him say, yeah, we're in a good place now, so I'm gonna need for there no more. Let's hope so we don't do poorly against Cameroon locals a few years back. We did had some North American players then too. Yeah, that team was a mixed team. I think even Adai did keep that day, if I'm not mistaken. Bless up Jairus. No, he hasn't resigned, but apparently that's the talk that he's going to. I don't even think he's resigned. You know, I think his contract is literally about to be up because I think he signed a 3-year in 2022. No, so it's about to run out. All right, so Jamaica Football Federation President Michael Ricketts. All right, I read that. All right, so with several overseas-based reggae boys unavailable, Ricketts told the Jamaica Observer that head coach Steve McLaren is likely to focus on domestic talent for the Unity Cup, which offers players assessment ahead of the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. The four-nation Unity Cup, set to also feature Trinidad and Tobago, Ghana, and Nigeria, is to take place at Brentford GTech Community Stadium in West London from May 27 to 31. The Jamaicans are to face Trinidad and Tobago in their opening match, and depending on results, will either meet the winner or loser of the Ghana versus Nigeria match. We are very excited because this will be a yardstick to measure our readiness for the World Cup qualifiers. Interesting take there. The coach is getting a lot of young, local-based players into the Unity Cup, and like he has said to us, he really wants to expose some of his young talents in England at the end of the month. Okay, so that's the first time we have heard any mention of players not in the JPL for this Unity Cup right there. He has not yet named the team, but based on what he would have said to us, there will be a number of local-based players in this Unity Cup squad. Not all of our overseas-based players will be available for this tournament, but the coach is comfortable with the players that he has been able to put together. The JFF boss highlighted the broader strategic importance of the competition, noting that it will serve as key preparation for the Jamaica 2026 World Cup qualifying matches. The Reggae Boys are scheduled to begin their qualifying journey, or continue, it should say, on June 7 when they play away to British Virgin Islands before hosting Guatemala on June 10. He said the invitation to the Unity Cup came through arrangements by agent Winston Clark, who engaged sponsors for the event. They would have invited us, and of course, we readily accepted it because we thought it is very important as part of the preparation process. He appealed to the stakeholders to support the team's journey, stressing the potential impact of the tournament on national pride and visibility. We just want to get sponsors on board. We have started getting some sponsorship because it will cost a pretty penny. We are just hoping that the social impact that this will have on our country is worth an investment from the private sector and government. So that is what he had to say about the Unity Cup. Now, a couple of things in here that I think at face value, yes, it sounds like these would be good for World Cup qualifiers and preparation. But as we have all pointed out, the dates really don't lend itself to preparing for the World Cup qualifiers because the time frame that people would need from when their last game in their league season play to these games in this is too short. And we would be wanting these players to be meeting up with the team. If they play on the 7th, they would want to be in Jamaica, like at least 5 days before the 2nd, the 3rd, so that they can travel and get where they're going, prepare, and then travel back to play on the 10th in Jamaica. So the turnaround is just not really there. But one thing that hasn't been mentioned, which is kind of strange to me, nowhere in this article did they mention at all. He did mention that stuff is going to cost a pretty penny and we need sponsors, but nowhere at all did he mention that these games, because they're being played in England, perhaps it would be financially prudent of them to actually use more players that are actually already in Europe to get to the game. And, by extension, if you really want to be prudent financially, try to get the ones that are actually located in England. Now, maybe in the beginning when they signed up for this, we heard even Simon Preston, JFF press officer, mention in the JFF news that they do on the Mondays that it's going to depend on the organizers and the teams playing in it, how strict they're going to be with paperwork for the players participating. Now, I have heard that one of the members of the Nigerian delegation have asked that for them to keep their official friendly status, they would like for all the players to have the requisite paperwork needed to play if they were playing in any FIFA sanctioned match. So that might eliminate some of what Coach McLaren might have been thinking in the beginning when he was thinking about the Unity Cup. Now, that's just me trying to find a way as to why the narrative would be so strong that we're going to take all these local boys. But again, I haven't heard anybody mention the financial burden that it's going to be to take so many players from the Jamaican side all the way to England, which is what we hear when we have players drop out of teams. And even though we have alternative members that could come in that have either played for us before or whatever the case is from out of overseas somewhere, whether it's England or UAE or wherever the players are, we hear that no, due to the financial constraints, we are going to get these last minute players strictly from the JPL. And some people, because some people are fine with that and say, okay, if it's a financial reason, so be it. So why, when the thing is on the other foot now, and it's a situation where we're going to need to travel somewhere to play games, why we're not saying let's go for those players first? That's all me not understand about everything, honestly. Yeah, man, him scored the other day, man. If the JFF coach carry a majority local-based team, Jamaica will get a backsiding. Yes, Gooner, I just said that I didn't see the game. Big fan of that kid. All right, cool. How can it be key preparation of some of our top players? Yes, that's the other point in here that doesn't add up. The preparation can't be so key if you're not preparing with the players you're going to use, right? And we have seen this before. When we were going into last time the Copa America, they were saying, my thought process was utilize the World Cup qualifiers to prepare for the Copa America. But that's not what happened. What happened was we gave players more time off before the Copa America, and we put together a squad for the World Cup qualifiers, and you know, the squad we end up using in Copa America look nothing or very different from what we saw in the World Cup qualifiers. So it really was not preparation. Now, for some players like Boza, who wasn't playing much at the time, and you know, some other players, yes, they would have needed to get that preparation in those games in order to be ready to even compete at the Copa. But for others, it was more so about, okay, let's give these players a chance in an actual game that matters, official FIFA game, not just a playing Trinidad friendly or playing Guatemala before friendly, anything like that. This is official games where we can get some players some caps. And we also heard the argument that the competition we're facing isn't that hard, so people shouldn't get so upset with the makeup of the team. And then we went on to barely defeat the team 1-0. And then we went on as well to, you know, be up comfortable in a game against Dominica, which we could have been down earlier, but we went up 3-0 just to give up 2 goals and be fretting in the end of the game to win the game. And all of that could have been avoided if we just picked the strongest damn team. Clearly, they have seen the squad. I'm sure visa applications are already in. That's another point, Rob Smith. They would have had to have done that preparation as well, you know, in terms of the visas for the players. Because I heard even somebody asking JD that on his program yesterday, you know, what about visas? And they would have known the team because they have to look about that from now, from these times, to be able to travel later in the month. You know what I mean? This is not preparation, this is interruption. True. Also, notice how quick they tend to jump to local when we have a number of players playing well overseas. Yes. Ricketts needs media training. The guy says a lot of nonsense to the media more than not. Yeah, I think that's why we don't hear from him much, you know, because they know that sometimes maybe his voice ain't the clearest voice when he makes statements. J. Ross, I honestly don't mind. The top players don't need this cup. They need a break before a tough summer. If they have a quota for Jamaican-born players, why can't they select Jamaican-born players playing in Europe and the Middle East instead? Zaba HD, those will continue to be the forgotten people in Jamaica football, brother. People say them always fighting out the locals. That is a lie. People fighting out the locals that Unut say must go overseas and get better. That's who get the fight. We can't see or hear from those players. None at all. But what I'm saying is we have a lot of locally developed players playing and doing well. Flemmer, Alvas, East, Stewart, Norman Campbell should be available. Yes. Well, Campbell is a little close because I think Campbell's last game is like the 25th. So that's tough. You know, maybe you bring him in just to use him in the second game because I think it would be too close for him to play in the first one. But yes, those other names, I think Stewart is also like a day or 3 before. I think that he's the 25th maybe or 24th is his last game. Flemo. Damn, I think Ajman last game in team in UAE. It might be the week before. Let me see. Matches. Okay, yeah, so it's the week before. So their last game is the 19th of May. That's Flemo. Trevante in Serbia. I think him go right up to the end. I'm pretty sure. Let me see. Trevante been informed to, you know, people. Gone 3 goals last 2 games. I keep him side up because I'm in the relegation round right now. Yeah, so they play right up until the 24th in Serbia. So that's tough. I mean, doable but tough. But I think those players should be top of the list. Players who have represented Jamaica before, who play overseas, right? Number 1 priority. I notice I never said nothing about whether they're born local or overseas. I said players who have represented Jamaica before, who play overseas, whose seasons, you know, end before the start of this tournament, they should be number 1 priority in this Unity Cup team. Big up, know yourself. They say I'm straight BS them Japan. They already been sold, you know. Like that one of DJ gigs. Coco Jules. Boza League is on break. Let's see if he part of the squad. Yeah, Boza for sure. Any player playing overseas that has represented Jamaica, we can even put in the past 3 years then. If you're not, you know, obviously we're not call every single person who play overseas, but You know, someone that has been in the coach stats in the last 3 years, or players who haven't been in his stats but should have been in his stats, like a Flemo. They're actually fighting out the players who are overseas. Yeah, it don't make no sense. It's not about Jamaican born. I keep telling you all that. Once you go overseas, you're lost. Yeah, facts. I don't know why. Born local, born and overseas born is getting fight out because they are not in the JPL. Yeah, so basically, we can just say JPL and non-JPL then. That's how we have to start saying it. All of us wouldn't be available. MLS not on break. That's true. That's true. I mean, they can still send a request, but the club can tell them to go. Lamar Walker is over in is UAE as well. Either UAE or him there Saudi second league. Him over that side somewhere. He's definitely in the Middle East. Well, he was in the Middle East. Right now it's saying him to have no team. He was at Al Majad. Last year he was at Al Diyad in the UAE Division 1. That's one level below Flemo, one level above my boy there. But this Al Majad team that he was on look like he's not there anymore. So right now he ain't doing nothing as far as I can see. He's a free agent. Maybe we'll see him in the JPL playoffs. Who knows? Yeah, saying on transfer market, he's still at FC Majad. But on SofaScore, it's saying that he's listed as no team. Like he's no longer with that club. So I don't know. I'm trying to figure out which league this FC Majad playing. So they're playing the President's Cup for sure. But what about the actual league that they're in? It's a weird one. DJ should be available, but them seem like them want to choke out the promotion. Oh, he is there? So he's still at FC Majad? Okay, nice. Do you think we can find 18 local players in the JPL that can beat a Trinidad and Tobago or Ghana or Nigeria? No, Marvin, we can't. Yeah, so that Majad team, I believe they're in the UAE First Division, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be the league right below no, it's not Al Majad in Syria. It's the UAE version. Majad FC. Yeah, they do play Division 1. And their last game, them play all the way till the 30th of May, so that wouldn't work. I think Ravel season not done till after this as well. Lamar left UAE second tier and he left for another country. No, based on this, let me see if all right, when I go to matches, let's see. All right, so the 3rd of May was them last match. And it looked like, okay, so this don't really have any team sheet to look at. So I'd have to go to, probably have to go to the UAE Federation actually have a site, you know, where them list out all the league them, you know, so I'd have to go there still. Yeah, that was Lamar Walker, went viral. That was hilarious. when Antonio bust up them net and him go kick the ball into the goal again and what and he. That was hilarious, bro. So yeah, the Unity Cup people, we have players out there we can use. It doesn't have to be just JPL, and I just want consistency in the approach because when we have other tournaments that playing in Jamaica and we say we want players to come from overseas, we always get met with the financial constraints talk. Now that we're traveling over to another place where we have players potentially closer, I could have cost less money to get them there. We're not hearing that narrative now. We're just hearing that we can be assured that we're going to pay some money for the plane tickets for the JPL players to get there. So, yeah, I don't know why it's different when the other way around. And look, I have been one of the people that say foolishness, spend the money and get the players, right? And then I have been told that we can't operate like that. But now, so now all of a sudden we can operate like that. That's the only thing I don't understand still. But players out there, people, players out there. And again, Pika, please do your jobs. I know that there's a lot of paperwork at your foot right now, at your desk. Get the damn things over the line, man. They've been there. Should be more than enough time to get these people their books before even Unity Cup, because you've had the stuff. I know at least 4 of the player stuff been there and working and getting sorted. No more submissions to be done. Like all documentation turned in. So all that's left now is to print the damn book. So no need for print it, man. Print it. I don't want to hear say, oh, September window for all the players. No. Come on, man. Them do their part of the thing, now do your part of the thing. Yeah, man, that was hilarious, man. When the man Watani. The promoters and organizers of friendlies pay the expenses. So we won't have to pay any plane fares. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That is wonderful. I figured the lodging and food and everything, transportation while they're there would be covered, but I wasn't sure if they covered the expenses of the travel as well, to and from. I wasn't sure about that. So if that is indeed the case, then that's great. That is great. So I can give them a pass with the not bringing up the financial part of the thing in terms of getting the players there. That's why they wouldn't have mentioned that then. But I will I might have a link to one of the people that actually doing it, because I know somebody when I know, a mutual friend. So I can probably get that information for sure. Because I know my style, guru. Now I say you're a liar, but I just like to forget the news for myself, Not every single time, guru. It depends on the organization of the competition. Sometimes they will say, you guys have to find your way here, and we take care of everything. I've never heard that setup before. You have never heard that setup before, Guru, where we'll take care of everything, your meals, even the per diem for the players while they're there, the lodging expenses, transportation, but you have to find your way to and from. That is sometimes the agreement, This Unity squad is stressing me. I better not see a bunch of players from yard. You'll see a few for sure, brother. So just don't let it stress you out, that's all. Yeah, man, him play a reverse pass. Forget to him play through. But yeah, it was a very good assist. Yeah, because I know a brother where I know somebody where know Marcus Gill. So I don't really know Marcus Gill, but I know Marcus Gill is in it in terms of an ambassador. So maybe him could at least, if him don't know the answer to that, him could at least point me towards the organizer. Them I could have get the link, So I have a way where I could have maybe reach out, Try a thing, see if it work. My theory that Chung is upset with the spending on this Unity Cup is wrong. Okay. Yeah, based on what Guru has said, it looked like Unity Cup foot in the bill. I wouldn't be shocked if Unity Cup foot in the bill for every single damn thing, because that's not cheap. Talking about 4 international teams traveling to England, that's not a cheap, that's not a cheap. Okay, so we will have to bear the brunt of the cost up front. Okay. Why do you think Jamaica was playing so many friendlies away from home at one time? Yeah. No, I know. It costs us more to host the game because we have to take care of more things. But I'm saying sometimes that the travel, like that's something that is a tournament to tournament thing that's worked out. Like, I'm not talking FIFA and CONCACAF tournaments, you know. I'm talking like this, that is a independent entity keeping a tournament. What they agree to pay for can differ based on the tournament. Now, I agree, when it's a CONCACAF tournament or a FIFA thing, it's going to be set in stone what happens, you know? That's what I'm saying. This tournament, the JFF will pay, but what I want to know, we max it, is after they pay, will they then turn in receipts and say, our travel expenses to and from was this, and the Unity Cup will pay that back? Is that what Football Guru is saying? They can do whatever they know when it comes to our qualification games. They better don't mess it up. One Ravel. Why did Jamaica owe England for a match some years ago? Where was that match held? Teams pay us to play, but Nations League basically got rid of friendly. Okay. Yes, they will get compensated after. All right. So maybe it is a case where, because the restriction's not there anymore, we can get these type of funding easier. You know, we obviously we tell them, hey, we're playing in Unity Cup, blah, blah, blah. We're going to need this to kind of get there and do what we need to do until then pay we back. And maybe them release that funding, you know, quicker, so that we can actually, you know, buy the tickets and get everything we need to get there and get back, you know. But that's interesting. Unity Cup full of money then, because that's 4 teams traveling from all kind of places to England. So it must be some serious money man running this Unity Cup. They want to make sure you turn up. True. Well, if they want to make sure you turn up, them know would I buy the ticket for you then. That's the most sure way, you know. Because if you promise them, yeah man, we're gonna buy a ticket them. What if when it's time for buy them now, the money not there? You know what I mean? So all right, so we talked about the Unity Cup, talked about some players that could potentially come. World Cup and Gold Cup. We're at the 2-hour mark, sadly. So we're not gonna quite reach to the form check portion of the show. So it look like the form check gonna have to be one long show, yeah, man. Because there's so many players to check on what they did this season. And I don't really want to rush something like that. So we'll have to do the next reasoning time, and we're just going to focus on the players themselves, right? The actual players, what they were up to this season, and we're going to try to cover the whole spectrum as well. So we're going to go from goalkeeping options, defensive options, right throughout the pitch. I think a nice segment, a 2-hour segment, should be enough for that, where we'll go through the players and talk about them all. Because to be honest, there's a lot of players out there that actually really staking their claim to get back in this team, whether they have been in the team before or whether they have just been on the cusp or in the talking and thinking of fans. There's a lot of these players that really had a good close to their season. And some of them still playing their season, but they're having good endings to their season. So we need to highlight those players. As I said, based on my calculation, the Gold Cup prelim squad should be dropping sometime next week. I think it's a 30-day time frame before the actual team is picked. or before the games start, which is June the 14th, I want to say, for that. So, yeah, I think that based on my calculations, the Gold Cup provisional squads will have to be released sometime soon. I am thinking about next week sometime. So that to me will give us some really good clues as to where he's looking for these World Cup games and the Gold Cup, of course, because he did mention the last time he spoke that he wants the World Cup squad and the Gold Cup squad. If it's up to him, they would basically be almost exactly the same. We don't want a situation where we don't have access to every player he would want in both of those two windows right there. So let's see how this Gold Cup provisional squad look. We also learned from looking at the last provisional squad that it is not a definite that people placed on this squad have to have all their paperwork finished. So I want to temper everybody's vibes when this provisional squad come out and you see certain players doesn't mean that they're ready to represent already. We saw last time there was a player on there, or a few of them actually, that we have since found out they still don't have paperwork, and that's why we haven't gone back for them up to this day, right? So again, when you see that provisional list come out, please don't run out with your content, Mr. Creators or whoever. Do not tell everybody that the people are ready to play because they're on the provisional squad, okay? Because it don't mean that. It does not mean that, all right? We have proven that from the last one. So unless CONCACAF change the rule and state that you cannot even put people that in process of getting a passport on there, then we might say names that still can't get pick and play it, okay? So just relax and be careful where you run with from that provisional squad, all right? That's my education for you for that squad when they come up, because I'm sure that people are going to spin it and say, it's official. This man can now play. He's in the pro. So listen what Jason Gooner telling you today. That provisional squad can include players who don't over the line yet with all them papers. All right? Thank you. It would be a bad deal if the JFF agreed to wait on Africans to... Yo, this sentence could have go both ways, because I'm sure them now wait for we for pay them neither. USA players not invited. They're saying that because it's in the season, they're not gonna really go for those players to not mess with the clubs, I guess. But I don't think that's the right way to go about it, because at the end of the day, now you have to remember that especially these Championship and League One USL teams, them want to be able to put on them Instagram that their player got called to play for Jamaica, That's notoriety for them. So I don't think that, JFF is thinking, oh, it's outside the window, so they won't release them. I don't think that's necessarily the truth. I think they would release them because they want the notoriety for their players. All teams must pay up on arrival. You will get paid back. Jamaica have entered multiple deals like that, even Japan. If you guys remember, players even paid for themselves, like Ravel. Yeah, well, the players paying for themselves, we know that going on a lot. But I think sometimes what happens is the JFF might get the money back and then say them don't have it to give them back. That's the problem. So they look at the 20 JPL players in that 60 man. Ooh, yo, know yourself. If the number is 20, man, wickedness that. Unity is a big financial success if the haters don't contribute. If the haters don't continue to encourage people not to support it. Africans and Caribbean people are interested in watch and all type of media. Yeah, look, I am not disputing that it's a great opportunity for Jamaica, but the only thing I'm saying is, let's not make it where even though a lot of players are not available that would be in our quote-unquote main team because they need a rest or their season just finished, let's not act like we don't have other players that would be on the fringes of the main team, that we don't have to necessarily get all the players from the JPL. And I think that's what the administrators and the narrative has sounded like it's going to be a lot of these players. And I'm saying that it doesn't have to be that way. So there's no need to frame this narrative like it has to be that way, because that's just not the truth. When is the provisional squad due? Based on the regulations of the competition, 30 days prior to the start of the competition, provisional squads would have had to have been submitted. Now, when CONCACAF decides to put that on their website is different, but I am just basing it off the last time there was a Gold Cup. By 1 month before, CONCACAF put out the squads. So it should be in a week or a week and a half. It should be soon, basically. Respect, Oran. Thanks for the support, brother. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you got some info that is helpful to you moving forward. I know you're a student of the game like myself, so big up yourself, Oran. The Unity Cup, this Unity Cup, I think, is going to show up where majority of the Jamaican Reggae Boys fan base really is. We're going to see, because they have planned it out, you know. I don't know if you're trying to go JD to it, but go to the West Stand. They have put in there, as a matter of fact, that's the last thing I'll show on the screen, people. Anybody that is interested living in Europe, or even if you don't live in Europe and you want to make a trip with your family or whatever the case is, this would be a nice place to go. So let me show you guys. They put out a thing on here on their Instagram page, Unity Cup. If you don't follow them on Instagram, the Unity Cup does have an Instagram page, and they did put up the ticket seating, like how you should look about getting your seats if you want to sit with your fans in the crowd, right? Because they have it divided up a certain way so that you can kind of, you know, to increase the atmosphere. You have this section with your Jamaicans, this section with your this and that. So the Unity Cup 2025, where is that seating chart thing that I saw? Is it not on the Instagram page? Okay, here it is. So this, people, is, if you're trying to see how the seating goes and you're actually interested in going, all right, so this is how it go, people. The North Stand, South Stand, East and West Stand. So the East and West is behind the goals, and you can see based on the Trinidad match, they have, I like how they did this. They have a family zone in the North and South Stand. So those are the sideline, you know. And then I guess you could call it the two ultras sections. So the fans were there for make noise and beat drum, and you know, the rowdy the set of fans, they would be in the West Stand for Jamaica and the East Stand for Trinidad. So if you're looking to go, definitely you can utilize this. And this is for the second match. They're doing something similar where they have Ghana one side, Nigeria one side, and then they have the open seating on the North and South Stand, right? So that is how it's going to run. You see the prices as well. I think, oh, that's not prices. That's telling you the sections. So yeah, that's how it's gonna go for the game. But this again is the Jamaica one. Now I don't know how it's gonna go for the final and the third place, because that will be the same day. So I don't know what they're gonna come up with for that one. I guess they'll just keep it the same. Ghana and Jamaica would be in the West Stand, and Trinidad and Nigeria would be in the East Stand. But the reason why I think it would have to change is because if Jamaica and Ghana end up playing in the second game, then all their fans would be in one stand. So I would think they're going to come out with another picture for the game on the 31st that to kind of tell people. But I think they should do that. I guess it's hard to do that until you know who win the game them still and lose. So yeah. It's a great opportunity for the organizers and promoters. Jamaica did not organize it. Let us see the Jamaican filling out the Brentford GTEC Stadium while the locals on the island only filling out stadium for Messi. I'm a hater, says We Maxi. Not going and wouldn't go to the Jamaica part at all. If I am going, I would pay for VIP box. All right, so JD said he would go, but him not going. You won't catch him over in the West Stand, none at all. Well, them say Mayor say Cranky say him not going places with Jamaica team again without disguise. Some see him grow grey beard now. I don't know if him think grey beard is disguise, but maybe him have a face mask in plan for wear. I don't know. But hopefully you're not going to the West Stand because you think you need a disguise. You just don't want to be there. You'd rather just go to the VIP. I don't know. I saw two different seating charts, but when you try to buy tickets, there is North and South. I don't think they're going to open up the full stadium. Wow. So I guess JFF is not the only people with a bag of information then. This post was from April the 29th. So a little, but about a week ago now. And on their Instagram, I don't see any other posts about the seating chart. So I'm not really sure how that go, but them say that him try to buy and them don't have East and West even selling. Now that could mean one of two things. The East and West sell out, which I don't think it's possible, but I don't think that's the case. Or they have decided that they're just not going to open up the areas behind the goals, none at all. I don't know. But we'll keep tracking it though. Because as of right now, the only seating chart I see them put up on so how to buy tickets. So the man them have a certain time, or you can go by email. Some people like to keep it simple, no site, no scroll, just a quick call. If that's you, them know the people, let me know. Cause some old time Jamaican not like buy things on internet and anything, Them want call or them want go somewhere and buy it. So even the phone call thing might not work. Can't purchase online. You can hit the link in the bio. Okay, so email. So anybody want to buy tickets, people, just click this link, unitycup.com, and right in the top corner it says buy tickets. So any of my people in the diaspora watching this, if you're on the Europe side and you want to get a chance to go watch Jamaica live, you just go to buy tickets and it will take you right to Unity Cup Ticketmaster. Eastern. Well, it look like the Jamaica side sell out. Oh no, Western Jamaica supporters or Eastern. So them have the West and the East selling, man. For the first day and the finals day. We see, no problem, Guru. We'll find it right away. Let me look and find the ticket them. So so let's say I want the right behind the goal. W134. Yeah, man. Blue seat there, man. Enough of them sell out still, Enough of them sell still. I've seen £42 for adults, £15 for juniors under 10, £20 for juniors under 17, and $37 for seniors. So Cranky, if you want to go, it's going to be £37 for you for a senior over 35, over 65, sorry. A joke, my little Cranky and him age, kind of take them thing the personal. But yeah, people, that is basically the site you need to go to, Unity Cup site. If you are interested in purchasing tickets, that is how you can do it. And it looks like the East and West is there. East and West don't make sense. The central seating is the best view. Who is going to be in the middle stands? It's open to whoever wants to buy them, Guru. So if you want to go and you don't necessarily want to sit with the Jamaican section, you just buy for North or South. Yeah, simple. Great opportunity, some players. Yeah. Brahma did with laugh. Yeah, man, Cranky, £37 for your ticket. Super senior, Anyway, people, we have passed the 2-hour mark, and as I said, sadly, we're not going to get a chance to get to the form check segment, but we have run through most of what I want to talk about today. We talked about the final ruling from the committee, the Competition and Regulation Committee, to Mount Pleasant, just having a breach of more than 6 players on a match card that are not born in Jamaica. That was a $25,000 fine. They were not sanctioned for the points from the match because only 5 players did play that were on that match card that were born overseas. So they did not break that 6 rule that is in place of no more than 6 players on the field at any given time from overseas, right? So they didn't break that. So just 25,000 Jamaican dollars was their fine. Basically the equivalent of a slap on the wrist. And then we moved into the JPL Quarterfinals. Of course, they'll be taking place tonight. We will be tuned in. I believe Sportsmax will be televising those, so we'll be watching those for sure. I have gone for Mobe and Cavalier to get through, but I think that both ties will be close. I I think the Mobe Tivoli one will probably be the odd goal as well as the Portmore one. I think that both teams will not run away with it, but I do think they get through. Then we moved into the Unity Cup latest, talked about the article in the Jamaica Observer with Michael Ricketts talking about the makeup of the team. We discussed whether that is okay for your president of your federation to be talking about makeup of teams when he's not picking the team. We also talked about the basically ensuring that there will be a lot of JPL players in this team for the Unity Cup. And I also just wanted to point out that isn't necessarily the only way to get things over the line, right? We do have players in leagues that will be done at a reasonable enough time that we could also look for players that are featuring overseas over this course of this last season as well. So hopefully they do find a balance and don't, just automatically go for the players that are right there in their face in Jamaica when we have a lot of players who previously played in the JPL overseas now who could help us in this tournament right here, this Unity Cup, right? So that's all I was trying to create is just letting people know that it's not a must that we go JPL heavy. If they decide to do that, they decide to do that. But don't tell us that that's all you can do because there is more that you could do, all right? And then other than that, people, just want to big up each and every one of you who tuned in today to the program. We're hovering right about the 60, 70 mark at times. So we really do appreciate people taking the time out to stay and listen to the reasoning. Big up to all other creators that were in the comment section. Of course, We Max It said he was only going to watch a few minutes, but him stick around. So big maximum respect, We Max It, for giving me the time and listening to what we're saying on the program. Big up to all others as well. The subscriber, them were tuning all the time. Really do appreciate it. The ones who joined us today for the first time, we're very, very grateful for the new viewership as well. And just remember, people, as we continue to grow the channel, you will see the improvements. You guys just help me out by making sure to like, share, and subscribe. We want the channel to get over 2K subs. We've been hovering in this 1K level for a while. It's time to really make a subscription push now. So I'm going to do my best to be more consistent with the content, improve the content as well. And yeah, once I do my end of the bargain, you guys just do yours, man. Let people know that you found somewhere where you can have a decent conversation. And all views welcome here, people. Trust me. I try to stay pretty level-headed. As long as Arsenal ain't playing, I think I do a decent enough job. So yeah, drop your comments, drop your thoughts. Definitely keep the conversation going as well. When the shows are finished, you guys really not commenting that much underneath the end of the videos. That's another way to keep the conversation going in between live programs. All right, people. So big up on yourself and thanks so much for the support. Let me just read out the end of these comments before I run off today. AC, big up yourself for the early comment as well about call-ins. I know I never do what you wanted, and that's to get more people to call and get more thoughts out there. But again, I feel like if I do, which I always do, try to highlight the comment section, at the very least, you will get different points of view that way. All right. So it's not just me talking the whole time. I definitely do this, what I'm about to do now. I saw 2 different seating charts, but when you try to buy tickets, north and south, I don't think they're going to open up the full stadium. Okay. East and west don't make sense. The central seating is the best view. All right. I read that already. Okay, I must have gone to the wrong site because the ticket prices were different. I guess you're right, Jason. You can sit anywhere. Yeah, man. If you go to the Unity Cup 2025 website itself and just click buy tickets in the corner, that you'll see all of what I just saw. And to be honest, the stand for Jamaica on the 27th is already pretty well sold, to be honest. So people are buying it to go to this damn game. I could potentially do the second game in Oran, just depending on how the day go. I know for sure it will be cutting it too close to do the first game because I've training tonight. My other daughter have something going on as well that I have to go to. So yeah, I kind of busy in the evening hours here for me. But nighttime, I could definitely do the second game, So maybe I forward and run out and do the I think that would be the Portmore Cavalier game is the second game. So I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that, people. Pretty sure it's Portmore Cavalier is the second game. Let's see. Yeah, because I talked about that second because that was the second match tonight. But let's just make it official. And I think the game don't start till like 9:30 my time, which is actually decent because that will give me enough time to sort out my life before we do a stream. So yeah, me don't want to promise it, people, but potentially, I will run out tonight and do the Portmore Cavalier second game. Yeah, that's a potential. That's a potential. Me see, I have to check in with the wifey and see what going, but I should be able to still. Steve McLaren giving locals what they wanted, that in a good way. That good in a way. Big up Jason and all. Japan sent the funds for airfare for a friendly. COVID and the UK agent messed up Ravel and Maggie's travel. Okay, so Guru gone in the Japan situation. All right, so big up to each and every one. We see the numbers are go down, come and keep on and say goodbye. And that's fine, because we are tuning off now. So big up to each and everybody that tuned in. And as we always do on this channel, when the show finish, we say these words. Big up on yourselves. Thanks for tuning in. I am Jason Gooner. This is Jason Gooner TV. Until next time, people, we're out.